Excellent. So let me just do a quick introduction. We have a community called Wealth Warriors. Our plan is that in the future we're going to have a lot of money that we need to be able to move around the planet in lots of different formats, lots of different ways, to lots of different people. Um, and I've investigated quite a large number of, dare I say, online banking systems. Um, and in my opinion, so far, Kinesis Money is the one that we ought to opt for, and you're going to explain to everybody why in a minute. So we have some of our community members here. We also have a few people turning up who are not yet our community members, who I suspect will be. I don't know for sure, but they're definitely going to be getting involved with some of our members with Kinesis Money in the future.
Super.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the call. I'd like to introduce Michael Barrett. Michael Barrett is a senior account executive with Kinesis Money, lives in the UK, just up the road from me, about 70 kilometres away from where I am. Sorry, I got that right. You're in London, is that right, Michael?
Yeah, Buckinghamshire. So we get the benefit of London, but we also get some trees.
Okay, so you're in the posh bit of the country. So
It's not the bad bit.
it's not the bad bit, no. So yeah, so we've asked Michael to come along and talk to us, tell us all about Kinesis Money. So a sort of standard presentation, then we've got an opportunity to ask our questions and probe him a little bit and find out the things that we need to know to have confidence really that Kinesis Money is really the vehicle we need for our banking needs on into the future. So that's all I wanted to say to introduce you, Michael. So
All right,
please
super.
take it away.
So I suppose as it's introductions, I'll just provide a little bit of colour in terms of my background. And I spent 10 years working in property investments and capital assets prior towards doing this job. And during COVID, it became very difficult to manage property. My family had a quite a popular, well-established estate agency, which we sold just before COVID, and I was part of the acquisition. And it was a great operation, but COVID made things very difficult. The only jobs that were on the rise during that were divorce lawyers and truckers, and trying to account for times during quite a period of instability. People were losing jobs, people weren't able to pay rent and things like that. So my mother was looking for another option to try and put her money into a safe place, with all of these other questions that were being raised at the time. And I'd found Kinesis. And so I'd investigated it for her, a bit like what Andrew's done, and discovered a platform where you could invest very easily with very low execution fees. You've got instant liquidity. You've got utility over the asset, so it's not just tied into gold. You can easily spend, send, and trade. And the yield was something where I had to really get my head around. And a lot of my old clients from my property days who were used to getting an average yield of about 3.63%. That's the average UK property yield. So that was my main sort of focus in terms of trying to get a return for my clients' investments, aiming for between 5 and 8%. And when I'd come across Kinesis, doing the research that I was doing at the time, they were offering an average yield of about 6.99% paid in gold. And the value of gold, obviously, you would like to think moves up as inflation and interest rates are increasing. So back then, when again, my initial introduction, I moved out of property, moved into Kinesis when I saw an opportunity. My mother put about £100,000 in at the time. Since then, the value of her account has more than doubled. She's received a brilliant yield, and I'm still her favourite son. So it turned out to be quite a good operation for her and myself now on the back of it. And learning what I have done over the last few years, previously I knew very little about gold and silver and using the blockchain to back up physical assets. And it's been a huge eye-opener. And Kinesis is operating within a space that is new. It's using the old principles of gold and silver, sound money, but it's offering utility over it. So to give you some headlines in the way that it was initially presented to me, which I think is a good place to start, is we've solved the problems of gold and silver. Those problems historically being it's expensive to store, it's difficult to spend, and it never generated any kind of return on your investment unless the trade price moves. Whereas with Kinesis, we pay the storage fees, you've got instant liquidity, and we generate a yield by sharing the economic activity. And I think getting your head around that principle is one of the things that I will explain during this call. But it's much, much more than that. So we are presented as a monetary system rather than just a great place to buy gold and silver at institutional prices with no storage fees and getting a yield on it. We are trying to really be an alternative for store of value, commerce, people to grow their own communities, a bit like what Wealth Warriors is trying to do. And understanding the platform changes the way that you may want to use the platform because of the way that these different yields work, because of the way that you can bring your gold and silver across. I think when people first download the platform, they really discover the tip of the iceberg. But we're trying to, as a company, encapsulate the market from mining, refinery, storage, point of sale, actually providing utility through commerce. And it's really there is some major stuff which I would love to go into some detail on, but won't be able to really reveal behind the curtain. But one of the mega things that gave me a lot of confidence in the company prior to joining were the scale of some of our public-private partnerships. We're doing some monumental things over in Indonesia. There's a second government that we're looking to try and do things with. And it's the principles behind how our platform works that's allowed us to make some of these massive deals. And I suppose a good place to start is discussing the yield. But I think let's have a look at the homepage first and how that really comes into play with these yields. So as you log on, before anyone creates an account, actually, first things first, I suppose we should have a look at the before you log on to any platform, there's often a whole lot of information which you will receive in terms of trust, security, and making sure that you're getting into bed with the right outfit. So in regards to what Kinesis has, anyone who's got any questions about the T's and C's, the kind of operation that we're running, things which need to be verified in order to give you any confidence. Before you log on, there's lots of information about the products that we offer, the rewards. Products really is things like the different assets, our native assets, you would call them. We've got our KAU, KAG, the KVT, and the new one, which is certainly worth looking into, C1 USD, which is our new stable coin. We'll go into all of these in a bit more detail later. But this is where you can discover a little bit about different operations that we run. We've got various rewards and the yields that we offer. But the about, you can learn about the various teams. But what I was going to try and show you more importantly is what people need to see. Audits, trust and security. We do publish audits to make sure that everybody knows that the gold and silver that we offer is real, it's physical, it's audited, it's insured. You can get it delivered to your house if you like. It doesn't just need to stay inside our vaults. You can take physical delivery whenever you like and wherever you like. We've got 15 different vaults around the world. We only use the best of the best. So the likes of Brinks, Loomis, Malka Amit, and Atlas vaults now in Panama. And if anyone's ever questioning whether or not the gold and silver's there, it's important that you do carry out these third-party audits. We use a company called Inspectorate International, and they will verify that the gold and silver that is presented on the platform is there inside a vault, and this is what you can actually take physical delivery of. So these numbers here it's an incredibly arduous task doing these audits. We were doing them 4 times a year, which was just logistically a nightmare because we need to audit all 15 locations simultaneously. So they're there for anyone that wants to read. And there's also a whole lot of other information, which if I don't cover today, you're likely to be able to read on the site. We do offer a lot of support in terms of chatting to your account manager. And I think I'll cover some of the things which will help you understand the product, how it works, so we can we'll get started, shall we? So let me just get myself back into the account before we get going. And any questions on anything I've said so far, chaps and ladies and gentlemen?
How long has
Hello.
Kinesis Money been in
So
play?
we've been established since 2018. That's when we raised just prior to that, we raised about $197 million from the initial token offering with our KVT, which is kind of one of our native assets, which I'll explain in a bit more detail for you shortly. But short answer to your question, since 2018. However, one of the things that gave us a big leg up in the industry is that we were working with, well, we're a client of a company called ABX, and ABX is the allocated bullion exchange. It's the same CEO, the same chief financial officer. A lot of the team at allocated bullion exchange, which has been established since 2011, are part of our executive team. And ABX, the allocated bullion exchange, does exactly what it says on the tin. It has allocated gold represented 1-to-1. They typically deal a lot with institutions, but it's their relationships with the Deutsche Börse Group, the European Commodity Clearing House, that gives us access to wholesale liquidity providers. And by being able to buy massive amounts of gold and silver from these wholesale liquidity providers, that's one of the things that's allowed us to offer the remarkable prices that we do. And when you're buying on the exchange, you're buying from gold and silver that's already been minted from other clients. When you buy from our mint, you're actually sending a digital contract to ABX, our partner company or a parent company. We're a client of theirs, really. They would then contact their trading desk. The trading desk would then buy the gold or silver from one of these 9 institutional wholesale marketplaces. And then the gold, once we've purchased it, can then be minted or emitted into our platform, allowing our circulation to increase. So great question. But one of the things that we should cover is the difference between buying off the exchange and buying from the mint, because there's a big difference. And whether it's cost or long-term benefits, these things all come into play. Any other questions before I go a little bit further? No. Should we invite Andrew back in? I do feel like that's a question. Is he going to be able to get back in here? Possibly, maybe not. Should we? Is anybody got his phone number in case he does want to come back?
His actual telephone number?
It's all right. I will.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, do you want to drop him a text just to make sure he can get back in? Because I know it's his meeting, really. I'm happy to run it, but
Oh, okay.
drop him a text and just make sure he's got access. I don't know whether or not he needs me to grant that to him. So yeah,
Okay.
drop him a message. In the meantime, I'll press on.
Okay.
So we have one of the things that is unique to our platform is our yield, the yields that we offer. There are 5 different yields available for clients. There is a 6th one that's available for partners, and that might be something that Wealth Warriors wishes to participate in, but I would need to refer that to our partner program. But I'll give you the headlines of what's available for Tom, Dick, and Harry. So we have 5 yields. The holder's yield is exactly what you might think it is. It's a yield just for holding your gold and silver. Whether or not you buy 1 gram of gold or 1 KAU or 1 ounce of silver, a troy ounce, 1 kg, you're a holder. Whether you buy 1 gram or 10 grams or a ton of it, you will participate month in, month out, and be eligible for our holders yield. And it's worked out daily, just so, again, you can understand some of the mechanics behind it. So let's imagine, Ray, you bought 100 grams of gold on the 1st of the month, and I bought 100 grams of gold on the 15th of the month. Your yield would be twice mine. So it's worked out daily. It's based around UTC, Universal Time Code. And so if you've got your gold or silver or C1 USD in the account at 11 o'clock PM before UTC, then that will be a day that you're eligible to receive your holders yield. We'll go on to other aspects of it, but I think another principle about this holders yield, it's a passive yield, meaning you don't need to do much to be eligible for it, but it's also what you would call proportionate, meaning let's imagine, Becky, you and I, we're the only 2 clients in the company. You've got 100 grams of gold and I've got 100 grams of gold. If there was £100 in fees generated last month, 15% of that, £15 would go towards you and I. So you would get £7.50 and I'd get £7.50. But next week, Mervyn, he comes along and buys himself 200 grams of gold. And there was another £100 in fees generated. You and I, let's say we haven't increased our holdings, taking the yields out of account because we would have got a small increase. But if there was £100 in fees generated, 15% of that would go towards holders. You and I, Becky, we would get £3.75 and Mervyn would get £7.50 because he now owns half of the gold within circulation. So it's just a bit of how the algorithm, how the calculations work, but it's just important for you to know that these yields, they're proportionate based on how much you've got within the system. And I know it sounds very sales-like to say, but within all of these yields, the more you participate, the more you spend, or the more that you've got held within there, you can actually extract more from these yields in over the fullness of time. So holders yield, I think we've covered that one. The referral yield is one of the things which is helping me in the future quite dramatically, I hope, because you'll notice at the moment, and you'll be pleased to know that I don't get paid on referrals because otherwise I'd have only earned $30 since I worked here. And of my 37 referrals, they've currently spent $183,000 on the platform, creating $405 in fee, and I have received 7.5% of all of the fees that they have generated. And that goes on for life. So do we have him back in the room? Andrew, nice to have you back. I'll press on. I'm going through our yields, but nice to have you back. So with the referral, it's a 1-layer referral. So if I introduce Ray and then he introduces Andrew, I don't get anything from the next step. It's about having community benefits. So I'll give you one example. There's a lady at the moment that I'm working with who is setting up an account for her church, and they are doing some building projects. And she has referred some of these people, these contractors that are being paid, and some of them are getting sent gold. So she's sending them gold. They are then cashing it out at the right moment when they need some of the money. And when they cash it out for a fee, which we'll go over the fees shortly, she's going to get 7.5% of that, which goes towards her foundation and her church. So if you've got regular outgoings, or there's people that you pay, if you've got staff set up on a payroll, if you've got a group like Wealth Warriors, then there are benefits to being a referral and we'll have Jonathan in here. There we go. So there are benefits to being part of a network. And there's also another benefit, which is a limited offer. How long it lasts, I've been told no end date on it, but this is where it worked for the person being referred as well as the referee. So let's imagine I introduced Andrew. Once he spends over $3,000, both he and I will get half an ounce of silver. That's a little incentive. The bigger one is the yield that we've been discussing. So back to the other three that we haven't spoken about yet. So we've gone over holders, we've gone over the referral yield. The velocity yield is one of my preferred ones to chat about because it really speaks towards the name of the company. Kinesis, it's about kineticism and the movement of money. And the velocity yield is our way of encouraging that movement. So 10% of our fees each month goes towards people that have created the fees that month. So I won't go into too much of a laborious explanation, but there is a principle called Gresham's Law, where people would rather spend their bad money before they spend their good money. And let's say one of you fine folks wanted to buy my hat off me for, let's call it $130. You would rather give me a $100 note, a $20 note, and a $10 note rather than a gram of gold because that's good money. You would rather spend your bad money first. And we are trying to beat that principle of people hanging on to their good money and spending the bad money by encouraging a yield that actually benefits you for spending gold and silver. So the velocity yield, it's about trying to stimulate movement. And I think that's quite a clever thing that Tom and the team have done. Tom is our CEO, Thomas Coughlin. He has, it was a really clever introduction, that one. And then finally, I'll give you some case studies and examples about how you can sort of interact with all of these together. But the minter's yield is a little different from the holder's yield. So the minting is the process that I briefly spoke about a moment ago, but it's the act of bringing gold and silver into the system, adding to our circulation. Within our circulation, which can be verified and checked against our audits, is what we have, which is updated on the platform. I think it's every 15 minutes. It could be, I think it's every 15 minutes. So where you can see right now today, we have $302 million of gold under asset management and $188 million worth of silver under management. That's what we are holding as a bailee or a custodian looking after other clients' assets. That's an important thing to take note of as well. We are a custodian, a bailee. We don't own any of the assets on the platform. We are simply storing them on behalf of clients for free. The way that we make our money is through spending, sending, and trading. That's how we make our money. That's how the yields are made. But if we disappeared overnight, which I assure you we're not going to, after some of these things that we can also discuss during this call, you'll see why. But those assets on there, if we were to go, they're all stored. The KAU, which is a contract of ownership, verifying that they're in your name, that is ownership. That is how the blockchain works. Whoever holds that contract is the owner. It's like where people often say with gold and silver, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. That KAU is a modern day, it's like a warehouse receipt. It's a digital warehouse receipt. So you are holding the receipt for your gold and silver that is stored inside our vaults. And again, you can get it delivered to your house if you like. So I think that covers some of the yields. There is one more, which is actually a pretty important one to think about because this is KVT. So we raised, like I said during the introduction, $197 million from the pre-sale of KVT. And there are 300,000. There will never be any more. They are divisible. So they divide, like all blockchain assets, into 7 different decimals. But KVT is kind of our one of our native assets where 20% of the fees that we generate each month goes towards the KVT pool. And then that total value is distributed amongst the 300,000 tokens available. So we had a really good month back in June where we did $17.37 million in fee. On that particular month, we had the $3.47 million, 20% of those fees that was distributed to KVT holders. So you get $3.47 million, divide that by 300,000. So on that particular month, every KVT holder got $11.56 per KVT. So that's the principle behind KVT. You're not actually, unlike the KAU and KAG, where they are backed by physical assets. The KVT is a smart contract which you're buying into the performance of our company. And if you like what I've got to say, you might be interested in purchasing some, but it's the gold and silver that I think a lot of people are here for. There is another asset which I haven't brought into the equation yet, which I think also poses a lot of interest. A lot of clients that I'm chatting to at the moment are keen to try and capture profits and keen to consider what we've got going on with this new asset, which is C1 USD. And for anyone who's looking to buy and hold and use the exchange, C1 USD is our new stable coin that we've introduced. It will be the third largest stable coin in the world, compliant with the Genius Act, producing a yield. And at the moment, it is producing a yield which varies every quarter of 7.5%. The reason I raise it now, even if it's a little premature, because we have got the insurance documents and the attestations coming out, I believe, later this week, which verifies what the asset's backed by. The insurance, I can reveal it is by Lloyd's of London. And there's a sort of a group of insurance companies that we're working with. Allow me to be a little hazy on the details because the full information on it hasn't quite yet been revealed to me. But the reason I raise it right now is because there is an account. When you deposit, if you make a deposit, you can either deposit directly into US dollar or you can deposit into C1 USD, which is this new stable coin that we're presenting. With that yield of 7.5%, which again operates like the KAU and KAG, it's worked out daily. Let's imagine you were to deposit $2.5 million with the yield of 7.5%. That would be worth $500 a day to you. And if you're waiting for assets to drop, it's a good place to park your money. The other reason why I mention it is because we have most liquidity available in that asset. So if you are doing any really high volume trading, using C1 USD would be the most sensible decision, because you'll notice if we have a look at the KAU versus US dollar, we're actually pretty good on all of them, I'll be honest. But if I look at the availability for KAG right now, if you were going to try and buy silver on our platform, you could buy what's that? $504,000 worth there. And with the gold and silver, let's just move back over to one of our. Might have to hold on just a tick. There is but essentially, is people within your group, Andrew, are they familiar with trading, or is this something that you might help give guidance on?
Some are, but I can't vouch for everybody, and certainly I can't vouch for people coming in the future.
Okay, well, within this conversation, I'm aware that there'll be a lot of information, a lot of detail. Every single person who signs up, they will be assigned an account manager. I suggest you take them up. You're welcome to have me if you like, but I would suggest you have another demonstration. If you haven't done any trading before, we're not here to give advice on trading. We're just here to give you the functionality of how it works. And there are some basic principles about reading order books and understanding how platforms work. But all I was trying to say is that we've got lots and lots of liquidity and the capacity to do really high volume trading in the US dollar, but there's also buckets of liquidity in C1 USD. So if you're doing massive high volume deposits, just be careful on placing limit orders rather than market orders unless you know what you're doing and can read order books. That's a principle that is sound on any exchange, not ours alone. But limit orders are always more sensible than market orders, just as a best practice, just trying to give some people guidance there. So let's have a little look at the home screen. I've gone on various tangents, and again, if someone wants me back on track on one angle or another, we're trying to just cover a whole multitude of things here. One thing in particular, which I believe you and your team are doing, Andrew, is trying to set up trust accounts. When you've set up your personal account initially, there is the ability to set up a business account or a trust account. And once you've done the necessary with the personal, so KYC requirements, where we need a document proving your address dated within the last 3 months, we need a government issued ID. If it's your driving license, it's the front and the back. Everyone forgets to send the back. We need both sides. And a selfie, which everyone should have. So once you've done that, you can then go onto your account details in the top right hand corner, and that will give you the option to create either a business account, a trust fund, or a retirement fund. The retirement fund is only available in certain jurisdictions. There are all sorts of we operate in 190 different countries, so there might be some differences depending on where you come from. But with the trust fund accounts, you can easily add here, and with the business accounts, you can also add here. But you need to do the personal account first. So once you've done that, go through the motion, click on your initials in the top right hand corner, and you can then add any other accounts from there, accessing it through our multi-account feature. So once you log on to one account, you can seamlessly switch between the two. Further to this little button in the top right hand corner, there's the settings page. And on the settings page, you can see things like redemption. And redemption doesn't mean that Jesus is going to come and save you, although we all can hope. It means you get gold and silver delivered to your house. And there are 15 locations around the world where you can get your gold and silver delivered from. And you can choose your preferred hub where you can get the gold and silver sent from. You can choose the amount. We do it in contracts of 100 for the gold, so 100, 200, 300, 400. Below that, there's another option for you. With the KAG, it's 200 at a time, so 200, 400, 600, so on. The cost for that, always important, and I challenge anyone to try and get it cheaper, but it's 0.45% of the total transaction, plus the postage, which is variable, and then $100 for the admin, someone to do the paperwork. But you can then write your additional processing instructions, click submit, and once you've done that, a member of our Boolean operation team will get in touch and say, hi there, this is what the cost will be. Can you confirm somebody will be in, and so on. Once you've confirmed that you're happy with the costs, we can then send it out to you. But the importance of this, and with the platform as a whole, is it's all allocated. It's in your name. Not that I'm encouraging it, because we have an objective as a company to try and capture 1% of all the gold around the world. But we could have a total run on our platform and not be phased by it, because it's all one-to-one allocated. We don't deal with unallocated gold. Everything is about backing it one-to-one. 1 KAU is 1 gram of gold. 1 KAG is 1 ounce of silver. This is a really important principle. And one of the things that gave me a lot of faith in what we're doing with this company is, again, the yield system. And I hope this reaches your ears in the manner it's intended. But if we don't do any trading and we don't make any fees, there is no yield. If we do lots of trading and we create lots of fees, there's a great yield. But it's a fair and honest way of doing things. We don't participate in usury. We don't do interest. We don't do debt. We don't do credit. It's about taking control and ownership over your money, your assets, and having it work for you, rather than paying 0.5 to 2.5% a year to store it at another location. It's a way of actually getting your gold and silver to have utility and do those three things. This is what we work with: spend, send, trade. So in addition to some of that sort of core principles, we also do have some other auxiliary products which are worthwhile being aware of, especially in the United States and in the UK. But we've got things like metalback. And when you combine metalback alongside what we're doing with some other new innovations, this can be really quite nice. I've only done it a few times at the moment. I stupidly bought some sunglasses when I had a week of sunshine in England recently, but I was getting 4% extra gold on that purchase. But once you've gone onto here, you can select what you want to search by, whether or not it's by a percentage, but you can actually go on to this part of the platform, see what offers are available. Once you search on here, it will bring up various different things that you can participate in. Let's imagine you want to get breakdown insurance, or you want to go to Asda for your pet insurance, and you can actually click on that. It will direct you to their website. Once you make the purchase, it will then give you that percentage that you've paid by just going through the vendor's website. It will notify you that you've purchased, and then you'll get that gold added to your account. So let's imagine you are getting 5% back on a £100 purchase. You'll get 5% in gold. When you're using your Kinesis card, there will be, I believe, some incentive with our virtual card that we are working towards. There will be a 2% gold in addition to spending. That element of the card will be capped at $2,000 a month, although the spend limit, I believe, will be a lot higher than that. But if you're buying, say, your new hat for £100, you'll get, say it was 5%, you could get 5% paid back through Metalback, 2% on the additions from the card, from that offer there. Plus, if you're spending your gold and silver to do it, you can get a velocity yield. So using these three things together, you can get brilliant exposure to gold and silver for buying things that you may be naturally purchasing anyway. So Metalback is really quite an interesting thing to look at. For any of you good folk that have got businesses, you can sign up as a merchant. And with the merchant, essentially, once you get started, you add your business name, what industry you're part of. And then once you've done that, it will create a QR code, which someone can go on your website, scan nice and easily, and make payments. Once you've created a merchant account, there'll be all sorts of tracking, and you can see who's paid you and so on. If you do something clever, which again, I'm happy to give guidance on these sort of things as and when you've got your own accounts. But let's say I've just started, I've been talking about hats enough. I've started a hat company. Let's say I want to get you nice people to pay me using gold and silver. I can say, hey, look, I accept gold and silver as a payment. Sign up using my QR code. And once you've created your account, you can then pay me using gold. So they sign up using my referral code. I've now got a new referral as part of my network. Then when they pay me and they are incurring small fees because they bought the gold and they're sending the gold, as the vendor, I'm then also going to be getting a referral yield. So that's one interesting way that not only can you get paid using gold and silver, you can actually grow your network at the same time by trying to integrate different elements there. I'll give you a little bit more of a rundown on the minting, which I haven't really spoken about that much, but quite impressive to have a look at, actually. So if I go to the menu tab in the top right corner, and there are some really important products and functionality here, deposits, withdrawals, and so on. We'll go over the mint first. When you look at the mint, again, as I said earlier, you're no longer buying peer-to-peer. You're buying outside of our system and purchasing from one of the 9 institutional wholesale marketplaces we have access to. And let's have a look on the KAU. Andrew, today, if you wanted to, you could buy yourself $147 million worth of gold in one transaction. You'll clear us out if you do that, but we can facilitate that kind of purchase. We can actually do more than that with a bit of pre-planning. But with the silver as well, despite there being a global shortage, we've also got similar capacity to deal with massive high volume there. We didn't actually go over the minting yield, so whilst we're on this mint, let's look at it. But the mint is when we're bringing gold and silver in, and if you've got gold and silver already, you can do something called EPD, and that is the process of exchanging your physical for digital. And in my mind's eye, that's not quite the right title for it. It should be exchange physical for a digital representation of your physical assets, but that's clearly not very catchy. So we've just gone with EPD. But you can stop paying. There was a chap that I was talking to a couple of years ago now. He was using a vault in New York where he had $500,000 plus worth of gold. And he had a chat with me. He wanted to do the EPD. We were actually using the same vault, and he was able to stop paying the percentage he was. He moved it from one side of the cage over to the other, and he's now getting paid to store it, which is a breath of fresh air rather than what he was doing previously. I think he had a pretty good deal on storage, but getting paid is better than paying. So the other way of minting is to make your deposit, move your US dollar. We only use US dollar in the mint because we're buying from these wholesale liquidity providers, which operate in dollar. Once you've got your dollars in the account, let's say you want to buy 10 lots, so 1,000 grams of gold, and that would be $133,000 worth of gold. Once you've clicked purchase and you've got your money in there, and then we've gone and to our trading desk, and we've bought the gold and silver, and then minted or created, emitted these new tokens to back up the physical assets we've purchased. Once you've done that, and you've got your gold now on the other side of the platform over here, and you've got the KAU in your account, whilst you hold it, you get a holder's yield because you're holding on to it. But then let's say I've got 13 staff and I want to pay them all $10,000 each because I've got $130,000 in my account. The first sensible step as a business owner or as a person paying my suppliers, set them up as referrals. And then when I pay them each their $10,000, I can do it through this payments tab. Nice and easy. So I can set up, I can go add payment, and I've got Andrew over here paying him his salary. And then I can do it with just his email address. I don't even need to do their wallet address. You can do it with just an email, which again makes things nice and simple for people breaking into this kind of operation. Email addresses are much more familiar than wallet addresses. But with a wallet address, you can just think of it like a sort code and account number. And once you send it over, so I've got my 13 people set up as referrals. I've got this $130,000 worth of gold. Every time when I send out gold that I have minted myself, once it's left my account, that's when I get the minter's yield. So I've got these 13 people. I've given them all $10,000 each. I no longer hold that $130,000, but I'm going to get a minter's yield on what I have emitted into the system. Then when they spend their wages, I'm going to get a referral yield. From an employee point of view, if they don't spend all their wages, they'll get a holder's yield. If you're completely frivolous like I am, you'll get a velocity yield. So there are ways of understanding how the platform works, depending on what you're going to do with it. You might want to go through one side over the other. So that's a bit of an example of how you can benefit from the platform. Some other important principles. I know I'm just going on a bit freestyle, but I think there's a lot that you can cover with this. There is important to know when you've got your gold and silver on an exchange, a lot of people are concerned about, well, if I can get my money in, I want to be able to get it out. I want to have self-custody a lot of the time. I want to be able to hold my gold and silver. We've already covered redemption, so you can have it sent to your house. You can also have what's called a self-custody wallet. And you'll see that I've got one here underneath external. I've got one set up. I go with a 20-80 rule. This is for me. I have 20% of my assets on exchange. I keep 80% of it in my little black box. Well, it's a brown box with a black card in it. And that's mostly because I want it out of sight, out of mind. I don't want to be looking at it. I want to forget about it and wait 10 years down the line and see where I am then. But you can link your external wallet and you still collect your yield on it. So that's an important aspect of what we do. You can also sell your KAU and KAG on other exchanges. So that's also super cool. There's a lot with the platform, more for the US actually, because we've also got this bullion store, which is really quite attractive. Some of the stuff we're doing over here. if you go to gold and say, look at these bills, which are actually really stunning, they are designed by our team. And we have, for instance, on this one, Ma'at, the goddess of, I think, equity, the Egyptian goddess, really beautiful notes. These are 24 karat investment grade gold printed into bills, which are, I'd say they're worth their weight in gold. They're actually about twice spot, but they do have quite high production costs. But they are legal tender in Texas, Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, some of these states around the world that are a little bit ahead of the curve or beginning to re-recognize the Constitution to recognize it as currency. Another important element that we haven't really looked into, but I think is always a good thing to do. Anyone looking at gold and silver, their first start is to look at what is spot price. Spot price, which you will never get with any exchange or any platform, except we'll get as close to it as you will find. So $4,112 for an ounce of gold. 13, we'll call it 4113. If you're buying with any company, you're going to end up paying 5, 10, 15% of the premium. Let's have a look and see what it is on our platform. So 31.1 grams of gold, $4,125. So we're normally about $10 above spot price for an ounce of gold, which is phenomenal. That is as good as you will get anywhere. And if you can get it better somewhere else, go and buy it there. If you can't, welcome to Kinesis. So you've got your estimated fee here. The fee, important, I haven't gone over this yet. 0.22% for every single transaction on the exchange, whether you're buying, selling, buying Bitcoin, buying anything, 0.22%. The other fee you need to be aware of, let's imagine I wanted to send Andrew a gram of gold. Next time, Andrew, not today. But
you keep talking about it. I've yet to receive it.
Let's say Andrew wanted to send me a gram of gold. He could go onto the platform, click send, and then you can type the amount of gold or the value in US dollar you wish to send. Click one, and then if you haven't got their wallet address, you can click email, type andy@gmail.com, whatever it is, and then right, happy birthday, send it. It costs 0.45%. All those fees that I've just discussed there, that's what contributes towards our fee pool, the master fee pool, which goes out towards the yield. So they're very reasonable, very, very low compared to other exchanges. I think when people start trading on other platforms and compare, you'll notice how good that is. But it's also important we charge fees because that's how we create this yield system by sharing economic activity. There's a whole load of other functionality. You can go to your activity. You can see what you've got for your various yields. I've got my account in privacy mode at the moment because I'm aware this video will be shared. So just trying to maintain some privacy. You've also got your earnings, and these are ways of learning about some of the things that I've discussed today. Metal back, the referral incentive, the various yields that we offer. And I guess the most important thing, which I haven't covered, is how to make a deposit. So once you go onto that menu page and you click deposit, for the Brits, you'd go for British pounds. For the people in the United States, you'd go on US dollar, click continue. And this is where if you're in the United States and I go to bank transfer, click on US dollar, there's actually 4 options. And one of these options in the beneficiary, it will say currency 1. If you go into that account, your deposit will automatically be converted into this stable coin, which is the one that's offering this 7.5% yield, which is variable. So that will be adjusted every quarter, depending on how our C1 USD is being managed through a different team. But again, we can offer some detail on that in another call. But we've also got 3 other accounts where you can deposit and it goes into US dollar. So just please be careful of that. And in addition, you want to make sure you're using your payment reference. This is what we call a KM number or internally we call it a holder identification number. So there's a few things we're working towards, but this is the status quo. Once you make a deposit, our payments team will use that KM number to allocate your deposit to your personal trading account. So make sure you include that. If you don't, we're going to be chasing you for deposit receipts and can slow things down. So just be aware that we do need that as a reference on the payment. Once your funds arrive, you can then buy gold and silver here, or any of the other assets actually. You can just click on what you're planning on buying and spending. It does it always as a market order here. So I prefer to use the exchange. You can also set a target price. But I prefer to use the exchange. Best practice. It's the best way of making sure you know exactly what you're doing and what you're getting. But I could talk a lot longer about a whole range of other elements and partnerships and some of our government projects that we're working on. But I don't know how long your team have got, Andrew, and I don't know if there's any questions. So I'll open it up to the floor in case there's anything I've missed.
Okay, well, I noticed Gaia has got a hand up for
Oh,
a
I can't see.
question.
Sorry, Gary.
But if you don't mind, Gaia, I'd like to go with a couple of questions that I think will help clarify something that maybe not everybody isn't aware of. So, Michael, I noticed you use the 31.1 grams per ounce. So
Good
what a
pickup.
lot of people might not know is that means that we're dealing with precious metals in troy ounces rather than standard ounces or avoirdupois ounces. So when you're looking at different things, just make sure you're using troy ounces for your, if you're doing any sort of comparison or valuation, make sure you're talking about troy ounces. That's what we use for precious metals.
Correct. Good pickup. And it's something that when I first joined this company and I knew nothing about gold and silver, I too was confused by a cooking ounce, thinking 28 grams.
Yeah,
So it's a troy ounce, and it's a troy ounce of silver that we're talking about as well.
yeah. And it's worth mentioning there's about six different types of ounce.
Yeah.
So it's been abused and misused over the years, but precious metals is always troy ounces. Um, I'm sure I missed a bit about the Visa card.
Yeah,
If
so
you,
as
if
in,
you
I haven't actually touched on it that much, and we've got our quarterly update coming out, I believe, at the end of this week, which I hope will provide some clarity on it. I think, based on what you've said, Andrew, most people here are in the United States, and you're going to be the ones that benefit from this card first. So we had a card once upon a time. We've managed to renegotiate a much better deal on it, and we're going for a different service provider now. But essentially, a bit apprehensive saying this on a recorded call, but my understanding is that we'll be rolling out the beta for this card this side of the year. And then once we've done it with a select group of our power users, we will then roll it out to the public at large. My expectation, and I should hang on for the quarterly update to say this, but early in the new year, it will be available for people all across the United States. It will be followed by other regions. It's also going to be available in LATAM, across Latin America. And so card is coming in terms of the T's and C's and offers and availability on it, yet to be revealed. But I do know that the chap and team working on that have been quite rigorously negotiating to make sure that we've got a good operation there.
Okay, so what are the main advantages of the card?
Okay, well,
For
I'll
example,
give.
as I've been I read all the information on the site,
Mhm.
and I've been saying to people that you can actually spend your gold and your silver on your card, you can spend your Bitcoin
Yeah.
on your card, and so on. So could you sort of
So yeah, of course. So
talk about that a little bit?
and I'll explain it based on the principles that I am quite confident will be available. If there are any changes to it, we'll be publishing that from our marketing team. But this is how it will operate in practice, to my knowledge. So let's imagine I want to buy another hat. I'm going to buy another hat. I've got it's a much more expensive hat on this occasion. It's £1,000, and I've got £500 worth of gold in my account. I've got £300 worth of silver, and £500 worth of Bitcoin. And what you can do with the card is prioritize which asset you want to spend. So what many people will do is they might just choose C1 USD. This is what I'm thinking of doing actually. So I might have as the priority for my spending to be in C1 USD. And so I might convert my gold and convert my silver and convert my uh, Bitcoin into C1 USD monthly because I might be able to budget better with that because it's a stable coin. It's going to be a pound, always going to be a pound. But like Andrew was saying, if you want to just spend your Bitcoin and not have to worry about going into one asset to another, you can say, right, I'm going to buy my hat for £1,000. It's going to spend my gold first, so it will spend all of that. I've got £300 of silver, so it's going to spend all of that. And then it's going to spend £200 of my Bitcoin and keep the left available to me. And you might say, well, actually, Bitcoin's gone through the roof this month. I'm going to have that as my first spend because it might dip next week and I want to spend a bit today. But essentially, you can have 5 different assets in a priority order. So you might include a bit of XRP in there. You might have C1 USD as your main asset, and then it can filter into your other assets. So a way that I'm going to be doing my monthly expenditure once I've got the card, and this is a sensible way of really actually, my plan is to mint my wages. I might have to wait every couple of months with the price of gold at the minute. But so let's say you mint 100 grams of gold and I've now got that sat in my account. And then I convert what I'm planning on spending. So let's say I spend £3,000 a month. I'm going to convert of my £10,000 that I've just put into gold. I've got £3,000 now sat in C1 GBP because we're going to do it on 7 different assets. We're going to have a stable coin for pounds, US dollar, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar. These stable coins are going to be quite a fundamental part of the platform. And then if I spend on my, what I might say, I'm going to spend all my C1 GBP, but then it can filter into other assets accordingly. You might also not want to include any of the other assets because you don't want it to touch them. So once you've spent all your allocated funds for that month, your 3,000, the card stops working. So it won't automatically go into spending the other assets that you haven't put into that priority order. So essentially, it's a way of spending your assets, converting them into fiat at the point of sale without needing to sell on the exchange and withdraw to your personal bank account.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for that. I've got a couple of questions that are my own personal questions.
Go ahead.
But Gaia beat me to the punch. So
Yeah.
you okay? You're not mute. You're unmuted.
You go ahead, Andy, and you maybe cover my questions. So you go ahead first.
Gaia, I apologize. You're just one off my screen, so I didn't see your hand raised. So sorry for that.
That's okay. I can ask my questions later, so that's
All right,
fine.
super. Well, Andrew, hit me with yours.
Okay, thanks. So let's suppose I've got $100,000 worth of gold sat under my bed because I don't know where to put it and what to do with it. How can I get that into your system?
So we covered that's covered through our EPD, and
Yes.
but as in order to start the process off, once you've created your KMS account, there's loads of acronyms in this job. KMS, Kinesis Monetary System. So you're onto your KMS account, your Kinesis platform, where the exchange is. Once you've done that, you're going to need to create a Mint account. So go up to the menu, go underneath products and click Mint. You will then need to use the same email address, maybe a different password, whatever. But once you've done that, and you're onto this account, you're gonna have to link the 2 accounts. We can cover that in another call, but it's nice and simple. But once, let's say, Andrew, you've got your gold under your bed, you're going to click on EPD. It does need to go through our quality assurance framework. So there are things that we require, like a chain of integrity. Has it been assayed? We need to make sure that the gold is 999.9. If it's not, then you would not get, let's say you gave me 1 gram of gold, which was half the purity that we were requiring, then you would only get half a KAG, because otherwise the gold within our circulation becomes fractional, and that's the whole problem with the whole financial system. So so back to my example, you've got all your gold under your bed from you bought Silver Eagles over the years, or you bought your gold from a reputable vendor. You can then click on EPD. You can go, I don't have a metal desk account, unless you do, which is having an account with ABX, our parent company, a client company. So you say, I do not have a metal desk account. You've got two options, standard or segregated. I would recommend standard. Segregated is typically reserved for coins, where they've got an inherent value worth more than the base price. And if
Yeah.
you are determined to take delivery of your coins again one day, and you want to make sure you get the same coins that you put in, then you're going to want to do that. However, it does come with a 2.5% a year management fee. So that's comparable to other companies that don't offer a yield, but that means that you can keep your gold and silver coins separate from the rest of the stash, from the gold in the pool within the other lot. So typically you go standard.
Can I
Even
just give another example there?
go on.
And that is a friend of mine. When he creates gold bullion bars, he stamps them with his family crest. So
Okay.
he'd want those to be segregated. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
he wants back the same bars that he put in.
Exactly that.
Yeah,
So again, it's we do have a separate team that deals with these matters. I'm often there just to try and well, not ruffle feathers, but if sometimes you're trying to get a square peg for a round hole, and people might have things that if we go through this form, so the contract you and your friend have may not come under these requirements here.
yeah.
And if you've got something that isn't quite fitting the bill, that's when you can say, Mike, I've had a chat with the bullion operation team. What can be done? Sometimes we've got other ways around of getting the gold and silver in. So the best thing to do is just start the form off, because this doesn't obligate you to anything. It just kind of initiates the conversation. So for me, I might say, look, my closest vault's in London, or I've got all my gold in Switzerland, so I'm going to use Zurich. Once I put whatever I've got in here, Daniel comes back and asks a load of questions, and then it'll be the chain of integrity. What's it refined to? Has it been assayed? Have you got receipts for it? Once that all adds up, we can then arrange for collection. That'll be through Brinks, Malka Amit, Loomis. They'll come to your house. They'll ask you to package it up correctly. Then you'll sign. But essentially, as long as it meets our requirements, you can then have it moved over to us, stop paying your insurance and your storage fees or whatever it is you're currently incurring, have it on the platform, and spend, send, and trade with it.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
So the second we receive it, it's then digitally minted into our platform, giving you that digital representation of the assets we've received.
Okay. Something I've been asked about is there any way through your exchange that we can sorry, do you run any staking programs?
I'm going to keep my cards a little close to my chest on that one at the minute, because I don't know what could happen in the future. However,
Okay.
and this is a bit of a segue, which I gave me a lot of confidence and belief. And then I raise this from an ethical point of view rather than a spiritual one. But our platform creates a yield by sharing economic activity. Whether or not you come from a Christian background or an Arab background, if you practice if you're a Muslim, there is a principle, if you follow Sharia law, where you can't participate in anything that has usury.
Yeah.
It's the same in the Bible. And usury is interest, debt, credit. Because our platform creates a yield without this principle, it is compliant with Sharia law. And on the back of that, we've been able to strike a deal with Indonesia, which is, I believe, when I joined the company, it was the largest public-private partnership of all time. And that's one of the reasons why we've been able to do that, because it doesn't have staking. We don't do leveraging. We don't do interest. And from my background, as in, again, I'm not very, very spiritual, but it's how I was raised. And I just think from an ethical point of view, it's more nice to speak of it that way. Everything's about one-to-one allocation. Everything's fair. And Whether or not staking comes into another side of the platform with another arm of our business down the line, is in question.
Yeah.
But I think that's the status quo at the minute. So I won't
Yeah.
go off on too much of a tangent now.
That's fine. No is a perfectly acceptable
No,
answer.
Andrew.
Yeah, thank you. And I made the mistake in a message. It might have been a general message to people of using the word decentralized. And
Yeah.
somebody questioned me about it, and I'm right in saying,
Yep,
no,
you're right.
you
You
tell
did.
me, is Kinesis
So,
Money
so
decentralized?
yes, it is. It's a decentralized public blockchain that we run on. So we run on the Stellar network, which again is it where the decentralized public blockchain is what people want to hear when they're trying to check whether or not things are transparent. One element of that is if I go to Kinesis Explorer, you can actually see our public blockchain. So if you go onto here, you can actually see all the transactions which are happening. You can't see who's doing them, but these are, you can see people are buying, selling, moving gold and silver around. As in, these are when there are, it's, I won't complicate things too much, but the answer to your question is it is a decentralized public blockchain. Yes.
Okay, excellent. And I think I've run out of questions. So, Gaia, how did I do asking your questions, or do you have others?
Yes, I do have heaps of questions. So, I'm living in New Zealand. I'm living in New Zealand, and I am a member, and I find it very complicated as a person who maybe has a little bit of money, what to do, how even to deposit in it. You went over that fairly quickly for me. So happily it's recorded, so I can have a look again. But there is, for example, I don't think I can deposit New Zealand dollars. So do I do a bank account or do I do crypto or
It's
how does it go?
a great question. And I'm aware that during these calls, especially an introduction call, you can get information overload. I think I'd started this by saying my mother put quite a lot of her money into it. I was looking after my mum couple of years ago. I spent about 3 months with her. She must have heard me make 100 of these calls, and she still has no idea what I do for a living. So you're in safe company, and I think hopefully every time you chat to somebody like me, you'll get a bit of a light bulb moment and go, oh, that makes a bit of sense. Oh, I can do that as well. But to the question that you asked, there is, if you're in, if let's say you're in New Zealand, yeah, you can deposit with crypto. If I click on this asset page over here, and let's say I want to put some XRP into the platform, I can click XRP. I can then go to options and click receive, go continue, and then you get your account address and the destination tag, your memo. So you can do that with any of the, I think there's about 50 different cryptos on the platform now. So you can use any one of these in order to deposit. The other deposit method of getting fiat into the account. So let's say nice and as simple as we can. But one thing we are working towards is something called open banking. And open banking will allow you to link your personal bank account with your account so you can just make a simple transfer. Until that point, Gaia, what you need to do is go to your bank and make a wire transfer. So you would click deposit. As you're in New Zealand, let's have a little look. We've got New Zealand dollar here. So you can
Okay.
so
Yeah.
you can click on that one there and click continue. But read this little message, make sure no one's taking advantage of you. Click continue. And I think with New Zealand dollar, it will automatically be converted into US dollar. So there will be a foreign exchange fee, but I think it's very reasonable. But what you would need to do is go to your bank and you would go with these details. If you're doing it all online, you can just copy and paste using this information here. So I've got Kinesis on one page, I've got my bank on the other. I can click copy and then go to the other side and click paste. The beneficiary, here's a couple of bits that people often get slipped up on or get stuck on. You might not need all this information. Some banks ask for different information. The reason we've got these accounts in Indonesia is because we've got that public-private partnership with them, which I've not gone into too much detail with, but that's why we got the account there. Copy, paste into the other side, using the information that you need, making sure you use your KM number. When you are choosing the account name or the beneficiary name, that's not your name. It's important that you have this as the account name, because what it does, it goes into our account, and then we will use that payment reference number to allocate to your trading account. So our payments team will receive the funds. They will put a note on my desk and they say, hey, Gay has made a deposit. I will then have to give you a call and say, hello there, are you being scammed? And then you'll hopefully say no. And then once I hang up the phone, I'll make a note to the payments team and they will credit the funds accordingly. And then so another little information to just be aware of, if I deposited, although I'm not going to show you at the minute, but your available balance here is always displayed in US dollar. So if I deposited £5,000, it might display as 6,000 US dollars, depending on what the conversion rate is on the day. But even you've got to be careful. And if you hover over this little thing here, you can see what you're holding and the value of what you're holding. So if for you, instance, Gary, you might say, right, I've deposited $10,000 and you'll be spending in dollars. For Andrew, if he deposits £10,000, even though it reflects the value in US dollar, you're spending your pounds, Andrew. So for you, you'd go to the exchange. This is for Andrew, who's deposited pounds. You can type in GBP over here. And these are all the different things you can buy with your GBP. So these are the various different assets that you can purchase with your British pounds. US dollar, there's a lot more pairs. And also, there's much more volume going through in US dollar. Look at the minute, 29 million that went through in gold over the last 24 hours. So because of that, you get a much tighter spread. So you get a fraction better price in US dollar, not by a lot, and it's inconsequential, to be honest with you. But the thing that traders on our platform particularly love, and this is actually a very good example. I can't quite believe that, actually. That's amazing. Oh, it's for you. That's for XRP. Okay, cool. I was thinking that was a bit crazy. But if we look here, and this is still remarkably good, the difference between our buy price and our sell price is 10 cents. 10 cents between the difference between the buy and the sell price. To have that kind of spread is epic. So that provides a lot of opportunity for people buying, and then they want to try and sell when it's gone up a little bit in price. So just be caution, have a little bit of caution, no matter where you are in the world. If you can use any one of these currencies here, just scroll down. There is a little bar on the side here, Gary, where you can scroll up and down. So for you would be going New Zealand dollar, click continue, and then you've got the account details there. Once you make a deposit, it's not always needed, but I do like to advise people to take a deposit receipt. If there's any mistake or you've accidentally put your name where the beneficiary name should be, having that receipt can help us identify if there's any issue.
All right. So I have my $1,000 in. I'm not very wealthy. What do I do next?
You've got your $1,000 in?
Yeah, I got $1,000. I put it in, say, and now what?
So you've got your $1,000 in. You can leave it as $1,000, but you're not going to make any money because dollars is a depreciating asset, unless you had it in C1 USD where you could get your yield. First thing I would recommend you do is you can work it out for yourself, but if you can get in touch with your account manager, I would happily do that first transaction with you to make sure that you're doing it correctly. But let's imagine you can't get hold of me and you can't get hold of It would probably be a gentleman called Harris in your part of the world, Gaia. He also has a team like me, but your account manager will give you a call once you're in. You've now you've gone onto the platform, you've got your $1,000 sat in the account. So I've gone to the exchange, four options down on the left-hand side, and I can just go into the search bar and type USD. And with my $1,000, I want to buy half gold and I want to buy half silver because I want to have a little bit of both. I can then go over here and click on the ask price to buy it immediately. And then you can either, once you've got the price in, it's either type the amount of dollars or type the amount of gold you want to buy. So you might say, I want to have $500 worth of gold, 3.7 grams, and then click execute. It will confirm the fee. And then if you're happy with that, you can click purchase. You've now got gold into your account within a couple of seconds. And now you've only got $500 left. You can now go, right, I'm back over here. I'm going to go choose my KAG now. And then I'm going to go click on the ask price. And I could actually then click max because it's all my money left in the account. Or you can just type $500 again and then click purchase. And then you've got your silver.
Okay, so now I have that in my account, 500 of each. And
Yeah.
now I want to, oh my God, now I need to have some money back because I forgot to pay whatever. What do I do?
So the best case scenario is we have the card by then and you can just spend on your card. Let's imagine we haven't got the card and you don't need to get it back into your bank account. You can go up to the platform. Right, now I've just made silver's just shot up by another $10 an ounce. So I'm going to click sell now and I can go. So if I go buy, I can now go sell. You can then say, right, I need $100. Type that in. The bid price is how much we'll bid to buy it off you for. If you click the bid price, that's the current figure that it will sell for immediately. But if you think it's going to go a bit higher, you might say, well, I don't want to sell it at 50.8. I'm going to sell it when it hits 51. And you can actually set that price. But let's imagine you need to pay your bills today. You can click bid and you've got your bills of $500. You can say, right, I'm going to sell $500 worth, click sell. And now you can then go up to the menu tab, click withdraw, and then choose your British pounds or euros, whatever you got. And then you go to your bank account, click bank account. As long as you've set up your bank details and you do that in the settings, an important part to be aware of, and this is why it's so important that we get this card out. This isn't the end of the world, and it's a flat fee. If you're withdrawing £100, £1,000, £1 million, we charge £25, $25, €25 to withdraw from the platform. So that's our flat fee. That should be removed in the fullness of time once we've got some other functionality coming into play. But we use our Swift banking network and we do incur fees by doing those transactions. And that's why we have a flat fee to cover that.
How much was that you said the fee?
25 of whatever currency you're looking at, pound, euro, dollar.
Okay, and it doesn't matter if I only do $100, I still pay 25.
Yeah, but the important thing to realize is it's not a percentage. So if you withdraw £100, we're not charging you 25%.
Okay. So it can go back to my bank, but can it go back I can as well get crypto out?
Oh, absolutely. I thought you were going to say, can I withdraw to someone else's bank account?
Oh, yes, someone else's bank account, pay a bill.
At the moment, no, but we are working towards that. So that's where we're doing all sorts of clever things in the background. That we are facilitating soon deposits and withdrawals to and from third parties. In regards to what you just said, can you withdraw crypto? Go to the assets page over here. And let's say you can actually send crypto from one account to another. It's one of the really important things about these stable coins that we're bringing in, because I can't send you £10,000, but I could send you 10,000 C1 GBP or C1 USD. So sending the digital assets from one account to another is no problem. But back to what I'm saying. So if I want to withdraw my Bitcoin, click on Bitcoin, click options, click receive, or send, actually. In this case, it'd be send. And then I can say, right, I'm sending my 1 Bitcoin to Gaia@gmail.com. You can just use an email address, or you can use their Bitcoin address, and then you could write a reference of whatever you like as a point to remember. The other cool thing you can actually do, which we haven't covered, is request. So let's say I wanted 1 Bitcoin or 10 Bitcoin of Andrew. So I can then click Andrew, gmail.com, and it will actually create like an invoice for them, or a request to say it's not an invoice, but it will say, this is Michael's address. He wants 10 Bitcoin off you. And it will give you the means of being able to pay people with their account address.
Okay. So I have people in my team who are very novice and they just know a bank account transfer, but they need to buy crypto. Is this charging a lot of fees? So say they put the $1,000 in, then they can convert that in crypto and then use that as a crypto venue, or is that not how it's supposed to
Yes,
go?
as in the only fee you're gonna be charged is 0.22%. Once you've purchased it, there's no management fee, there's no holding fee. When you're sending from the platform, there is fees, which some of them are what you would call, they're sort of variable. If I click on this fee structure here, I would suggest for you and your team, Gaia, have a little look at this section here, because all of these various digital assets have their own fees that can be attached to it. But I can just show you this for a moment. So digital currencies, subject to a withdrawal fee. There is a bit more detail on it here. Withdrawals. Here we go. For withdrawing digital assets, have a look at this. So you can see here, you've got minimum withdrawals, 0.03 KAU, 0.03 KAG. And then you've got, that's what it's called. It's called a dynamic fee. And you might, if you're probably familiar with things like gas fees and things like that, which
Yeah.
are variable depending on the network, how much usage there is at the time.
So, if I do the KAG, that one, is that on the? Can I then have in my Exodus wallet that your coin, or do I need to? Is that separate?
So you would need to, we use our own bespoke fork of the Stellar network. So it's our own blockchain, but it's on the Stellar network. So you would not be able to just automatically deposit your KAG to your Trezor. We do offer a free wallet that you can use. So if you go on to the menu and you click wallet, you can set up and install a self-custody wallet. If you want, that's still online, but it does require a seed phrase to access. What I think you're after is our hard wallet, cold storage wallet.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's watching this and a cold storage wallet, I think of as like the safety deposit box at the bottom of a bank. Much more secure, or more secure, less convenient. So it's kind of a trade-off between security and convenience. But if I go to products over here, Gaia, so if I go products or store, you want to go store and then click hardware device.
So
And then
you have a hard wallet,
yeah, it's called a cool wallet.
cold wallet,
Yeah, so our cold wallet is called a cool wallet.
cool wallet.
Yeah.
Ah,
So these are what we offer. We're working with Cool Wallet to provide them, but they have been built to secure, I think it's something like 20,000 different currencies, but also to facilitate storage of KAU and KAG.
and so this cool wallet, I'm very interested in that. Does it work on your phone, or how does it work?
Yeah, so you
Because
get
my
an app.
phone,
Yeah,
you need an updated phone, I take it, to use these ones.
I'm afraid so, yeah. If that's something that you're not using, if you don't have an updated phone and you still want to have self-custody, you might go down the other option of just using the online self-custody wallet that we offer.
All right. So, people who you know, because this crypto will be coming up and everybody needs to learn. So this is actually a very compact way of where people can have everything, plus their wallet, plus their card, and have their money growing. Is that,
Exactly.
do I understand?
And that 100%. And that's why I'll be straight. I think our vision is incredibly comprehensive. We're a monetary system rather than just an exchange. And I think what we're like 90% of the way there. Because we still have a few different functionality to come out. What we do better than anyone else in terms of prices, storage, yield. But what
Mm-hmm.
what I consider to be the silver bullet that we need for the platform is this card, because at that
Mm-hmm.
point we have daily utility. Rather
Mm-hmm.
than going in and just trying to promote day
Yeah.
trading or buying gold and silver, which typically people just hold, we need that card for
Yeah.
daily utility. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, you're quite right in what you say, although I would say we're a little way off in terms of fully achieving what our goals are.
All right. So I haven't done a thing with your one. It was far too complicated for my brain to take in.
Sorry.
And people who never did any trading or anything, it's like, what the heck am I looking at now? What to do?
Well,
So I was totally stuck. And I know a friendly lady with a nice accent phones me nicely. But
mhm.
I'm getting totally nervous when she phones me. So I say, I have no time right now. I need to do another time. So I didn't move.
Well, I'm
But
glad
not
you
that I
joined
have
me.
much to move.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. So you've had your contact with your account manager already, have you?
I have, well, I don't know. I got a few phone calls. And as a lady from Australia, I think she phones me on a regular basis to help me whatever I need to do. But I don't have a lot of funds. But I thought, hey, I have a team, and these ones are looking at where to store the money. I said, I can't help you. So I couldn't introduce it to them very much. I gave them the videos, but they came back and said, right, no, Guy, I don't know what to do. So we need a bit more hands-on help, it
Yeah,
looks
no, I
like.
get that. And as in, I'm trying to promote sort of seminars and things where people can drop in and just have sittings just like this.
Oh,
Um,
great.
as in, haven't had that sort of been agreed or anything at this stage, but I think they would be incredibly helpful, and I'd be happy to run them. But
Mm-hmm.
the let's imagine you made your deposit. Most people, and on 99 times out of 100, doing market orders through this dashboard is your easiest way of making purchases. For people that are completely unfamiliar, I just like to recommend best practice where you get more information, and more information, you're better off for it. With a modest deposit like $1,000, you'll 99 times out of 100, you'll be absolutely fine just doing a market order from the exchange, from the dashboard here.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
Yeah,
doing anything extraordinary like 100, 200 million, you want to make sure you're doing a limit order.
I will
Um,
have you at my side if I do a million. So
um,
don't worry.
so you've got you let's say you've made your deposit, you've got your value in the account, and then you go, right, I want to spend $100, click execute, done.
Perfect. Now, uh, do you work with a Wise account? Do you accept money
Yeah.
from a Wise account?
Yeah. Wise, as in, I think we've got multiple accounts that we use. Wise seem to change their um over the 4.5 years that I've worked here. Wise have I made my first deposit with Wise. About the time during that scandal with FTX, they stopped deposits to all crypto exchanges. Then they allowed some, then they didn't again. So it's always very difficult for me to recommend what third parties are doing. So I would say give it a try. There's different accounts that we have. I've accepted deposits from Wise this week. I think it depends on where you are in the world and what they want to do. Um,
Yeah.
so hard for me to say with any conviction yet, but Wise, Revolut, Currency Fair, we get deposits from all those organizations weekly.
Mm-hmm. And with what is happening in the world when things are totally crashing, somebody asked me, Gaia, I have all my money in there, and then everything, the gold and the silver goes down, then they will lose money, right?
100%, yeah. As in but it's in the if that all does happen, then yeah, the price of gold and silver will go down. The one thing I can guarantee is leaving your money in pounds or US dollar, it's going down daily. So it's
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So is there a way that they can sort of hold that a little bit more securely?
well, yeah, that would be the option that I was talking about with C1 USD or C1 GBP, and that's what a lot of people are doing at the minute because they get the yield on it. It's a stable coin,
Yeah.
but as in I had a bit of a laugh with a guy who signed up a few years ago, and he said he bought 1,000 USDC, and he hasn't made any money on it. I was like, well, you're never going to make any money on a dollar stable coin unless it's our one with the yield on it. So yeah, if you want to secure profits and secure value, you can move into these stable coins which are on the platform. Our
Okay.
stable coin is the only one that produces a yield.
Okay. So I have my KYC done, my personal account. Now I want to do a trust account. What do you need?
So various documents that will be requested of you. Go to your account up here in the top right corner, click account details, click add trust fund, and it will prompt you for the necessary.
Is there something you need to have prepared? I mean, I take it you need your
I
trust.
can
What do
tell
you
you
need?
exactly what you need, but again,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, can I jump in there, Michael? Because
yeah.
as you know, this is something we are preparing for in the future. So what I suggest we do is have a training session on that at some point nearer the time when we need it.
Yep. No, perfect. That is okay. Let me see. I noticed that I wanted a Proton account with this one, and it didn't let me. It didn't accept a Proton account, only a Gmail account. What was very upsetting for me, but that was the only way I could get in. Is that still possible to change?
Um, Maybe. That's not sort of my side of things, to be honest with you, Gaia. That'd be something the best sort of to bring up with the support team. And as in, I know that there are some accounts that automatically get sort of prevented from going any further with. I don't have, as in, I don't know which ones are eligible, which ones aren't. So if you
I
get
know my
blocked,
downline did Proton. She got in with Proton, but I couldn't. It
yeah,
didn't
maybe
accept
you had like a
enough.
VPN on or something like that. I don't know.
I think I did everything. I took my months to get in anyway, but that
Um,
was, I don't
Okay.
know.
Well,
I had,
I don't know the answer to that one, and
all right.
I won't make things up. I don't know the answer.
Mhm. Well,
Becky,
yeah,
yeah, no,
appreciate your explanation and time. I learned a lot, and it makes a little bit more clarity. Thank you, Annie, for
no,
doing this.
And we
Guy,
have the video,
you're very, very welcome, Guy.
and we have the video, Gaia, to refer back to. So
Oh, I
what I'm
need
going to do
it.
with this video as well is I'm going to identify the key elements that Michael went through, and in the description of the video, it'll say, for example, making a deposit will be found at 24 minutes 32 seconds, that sort of thing. Just to make it easy to use the reference document because there is a lot of information here.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Before we go to Becky's question, can I just ask a question, Michael, about something you and I encountered the other day?
go ahead.
Is somebody trying to deposit into their Kinesis account using a credit card? Are they
Yeah.
unable to do so? Can you just run through that a little
Yeah,
bit?
with accounts in the United States, you're able to do an instant purchase. And if you go onto your home page, there will be a little section up here that says buy now. If you click buy now, it will allow you to purchase directly with your card. And then it's typically charged about, I think, 2.8%, 3%. So I would normally suggest making a deposit. The times that I would recommend buying with a card would be if you've got a decision being made from Congress that you think a asset's going to jump by more than 3% overnight. Other than that, I would just make a deposit because you're going to save yourself a little bit of money that way. So You can purchase directly with the card. Some people want to do that for the same reasons that our chap was on the other day. You might get a certain allowance through purchasing on your credit card. So, but I would also say we've had about a 70% success rate with it. Some banks don't allow it to happen.
Yeah, thank you for that.
That's all right.
Um,
And Andrew, could I kindly ask you just to cut out what I accidentally shared on my CRM just a minute ago?
I will.
Yeah,
I
thank
will.
you.
And we've got a couple of hands up. So Becky was the first one.
Becky, how can I help?
I've never heard of C1 USD. Are there any platforms that accept that coin?
There will be, not at the moment. We are in the process of releasing it at the moment. It's kind of been our secret weapon that we've been working on, but it's the only insured stable coin in the world. I don't know if there are others that produce a yield, but it is compliant with the Genius Act. It's $12 billion, so I think it's either the third or the fourth largest in the world. I don't think it's fully minted yet. I think at the moment we've got about 2.5 billion in circulation. It's insured by Lloyd's of London, and it's our own patented insured technology. It's all audited, but it's essentially a way of us penetrating into other exchanges, getting new onboarding methods into our platform, allowing us to send assets from one account to another. It also it's going to create a bit of a limelight and a spotlight for us, because even if we don't advertise it, which I assure you we will once we've got all of our ducks on the line, it's going to attract quite a lot of attention just because of the fact that it's one of the biggest stable coins in the world. So short answer to your question, no. Medium term answer, yes, it will be listed on other exchanges in due time.
And typical exchanges like Coinbase and
Um,
Binance and
it's beyond my remit to say where and when, but I would like to think that we're trying to get it listed on as many places as possible.
okay, thank you.
That's all right. Mervyn, anything from you?
Yeah, so I got a couple questions, mainly to do with the card that you might be presenting. Um, would you have like it's a virtual card or a physical card?
So the one that you're getting more sooner rather than later will be the physical card. Again, I'm a little grey on detail on it at the moment, but we have had a card once upon a time. This is a few years ago, and the physical card is coming back. Again, the whole industry can change with a tweet at 3 a.m. at the minute these days. And we are working. There was a whole load of things that happened years ago within the industry that made it quite difficult to get certain licenses, money transfer licenses, open banking licenses. We have, the entire time that I've worked here and beyond, we have always been quite strict at self-regulating within an industry that is unregulated. So making sure that we follow anti-money laundering procedures, KYC requirements, doing audits. Fortunately for the industry, regulation is coming, and that's why we are very strict with our audits, KYC, AML, and so on. Long story cut short, Mervyn, is over the years, with regulations and changes within the market, it's been quite difficult to try and get the card back online since we lost it. But we've now got that coming very, very soon, and I would like to think before the end of the year, there'll be a bit more clarity that will come on that. Yeah, that's probably the best I can say at the minute for you, Mervyn.
Okay, and what I guess with you're not having the card right now, but I was wondering, like, with the fees that are being charged, like, is there a fee, I guess, to load the card, I guess, and then a fee for the actual purchase of a product? Is there
So
other fees?
I can give you the best of my information based on the virtual card that we are currently trying to work with. Whether or not it's the same arrangement for the physical card, I think maybe, maybe not. but this is how our virtual card is being presented. So there will be two options, a free one and a paid for one. The free one will give you this bit, 0.22% fee from conversion from your crypto to fiat at the point of sale, at the point of sale. So if I wanted to spend £100 worth of Bitcoin, it will be charging me 0.22% and converting it into fiat. No charge for that. Incredibly low execution fee, same as what we charge on the exchange. The one which you can get 2% gold back paid monthly, capped at $2,000 of expenditure a month, that will be charged at $6.99. So if you spend $2,000, you'll get $40 back. If you spend $1,500, you get $30 back. The way you work out if you want to pay for that premium one is, am I spending more than $500 a month, getting myself $10 back? If you're spending less than $500, just get the free one. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. What about records, statements, monthly statements or something like that? Is that
Yeah, I should have
something?
probably covered this. So if I go to the assets page, or activity really is what we're looking at, I can click on transactions. And if I go, this is where everyone's doing their reporting. So if I click on this arrow up here, I can click on transactions, account, holding, balances, and so on. I can also filter currency, type, buy, sell. I think once the card's available, one of the options here will be card. So you can work out and track what you're spending.
Okay.
If there isn't one for card, because again, it's yet to be built out, but I would like to think that we're going to make this as easy as possible for people. I'm sure you can just do buy or your sell orders, because it would technically go through as a sell. So if you just applied the filter to all your sell orders, then you can see what you've sold at the point of sale. So that would work just as effectively if we haven't got one filtered just for card.
Okay. So let's say I have some silver or gold there already, and I want to, I guess, put some on my card. Is there
A loading
uh,
fee.
a loading? No, I was more interested. Well, I guess the loading fee is also a question, but the time to move the funds from the gold, silver, or whatever onto the card. Is there
No, no,
a
no,
day or two or
no,
10
not,
minutes or what?
not seconds. So if I went to my virtual card, once it was all set up, I can literally drag and drop which currencies I want to be spending from. Again, I can move it in an order of, I want to spend that one first, then that one. I don't want to spend that one, take it out, click save, and then your balance will be updated immediately. And then you can just spend directly from the card. So no loading fee, and you can chops and change what asset you want to spend as quick as you like.
Is there a limit, a monthly limit that you can put on your card
I'm sure
or
there, so
spend?
there won't be any limit on how much you can put on. I'm sure there will be a spending limit. I believe on this card, it's 15,000 a day. If you're getting through more than that, then please take me to dinner with you.
So Murphy's going to have to cut back his lifestyle then to 15,000 a day.
I think it's that. Again, I've got to be a little cautious on what I'm saying here, because I don't know what the T's and C's and the arrangement will be on the new card.
Well,
But
I was
that,
thinking of just going out and buying a brand new car with my card.
well, is in what you'd be able to do. One, you can either withdraw from a cash point and spend it that way. Two, you could either send them a payment through your Kinesis account or go through the merchant store if they were doing it that way. Or you could either have it set up as a direct debit if you're paying for car payments. If you wanted to spend $100,000 on your card, it's a difficult one. I think you'd probably, I don't know, maybe do it over 2 or 3 days. I'm speaking a little bit in the dark because we haven't got it officially released yet, and there'll be all sorts of a presentation or a pitch deck explaining the mechanics of it once it's out. So I'll reserve the right to comment too much on something which hasn't been released yet, if that's okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's say I have my daughter also. She's created an account and got some gold and silver, whatever, on there. Let's say I'm looking at her birthday coming up. Can I transfer funds directly without any fees from my account to her account?
No. 0.45% is what you'll be charged for transferring gold from one account to another. If you're going to be transferring your gold and silver to your daughter, to Andrew, to me, to anyone, we charge 0.45%. And that also applies if you're moving it into a cold storage wallet.
Okay. Okay, there is a fee, but that is can be done.
Yeah, 100% with an email, with a quick ping of an address. You don't even need to have an account with us to do that. If I say I wanted to send, and I did this for my auntie a couple of years ago, who's got far more money than I do. I was keen to get her as one of my referrals, and I sent her 1 gram of gold using her email address and said, "Hey, auntie, if you don't accept that within a week, it goes back into my account. However, if you do accept it and you do the KYC, you will then accept that gram of gold I gave you." By doing it that way, when she created her account, it went down as a referral for me. So that was quite a clever way, I thought, of getting someone involved in the platform, giving someone a nice Christmas present, and adding to my referral network.
Okay, you mentioned in me, I might have not followed it totally, but I thought I heard you say there was a $25 flat fee for something. What was that for?
Withdrawing fiat from the platform.
Okay, all right.
But again, whether or not things change on that in the future won't be necessary once you've got the card. But at least you've got expectations on the status quo today.
All right,
Becky?
that covers my questions.
Thank you, Mervyn, for your questions. Sorry, yeah, I wasn't trying to cut you off there. I just I can see Becky's got her hand in the air again. But any other questions? Yeah, just make a note of them. Becky, what were you going to say?
I've been involved in a few platforms now where we started out and everything was peachy, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, you're an American. We can't have you on our platform anymore.
Okay.
What kind of chances are that of happening with your organization?
I'd say unlikely. I wouldn't say it's impossible. Nothing's impossible. Is in, I'll be straight. There are some countries around the world which do come under a bit of a grey area. I haven't got the list in front of me, but it's very, very few and far between.
Sorry to interrupt there, Michael. You'll probably find it's the list of companies that the USA has got economic sanctions
I
against.
think you might find that is correct, Andrew. Is
I
it
think that's right.
the likes of North Korea, Russia? Like I say, I won't say any more in the risk of getting one wrong.
Cuba.
Yeah, quite possibly Venezuela, maybe. I would say unlikely. But again, nothing's impossible, Becky. Can say I won't say too much more at the risk of getting something fundamentally wrong. Well, again, Becky, in instances like that, you would probably want to safeguard yourself by following my rule of 80/20. So you might have 20% on the platform that you're spending, sending, trading with, and you've got 80% in your little black box. If there was a moment which meant you couldn't use the platform, you could still sell your gold and silver on at least 2 other exchanges where the KAU and KAG is available. That way you create a bit of a safeguard for yourself.
Okay, thank you.
That's right. We've got one chap who's joined a little late, but any immediate questions, Chet? No. Anything more from yourself, Andrew? Or should we do you want to sort of you can sort of wrap up if you like, and then we can follow up another day if you like.
That's what I was planning because it's your tea time as well.
It is indeed, and there's a lady at a train station hoping to get picked up from me in the relatively near future. So
I'm saying nothing. I want
My
you to know how
girlfriend.
hard that I want you to know how hard that was for me to resist. Okay, listen, thank you so much for your time, Michael. Hopefully we will be in regular contact with you as I contact through Kinesis Money. If not, then we'll we'll make good use of whoever is appointed to us.
Yeah.
Hopefully with that we can sort of stick together as a team.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for the information you provided there. I'm sorry I disappeared off for part of it.
Lucky you made me host, right? So
That's exactly, yeah, I was clever that way.
yeah.
Not clever enough to fix my computer, but clever enough to mitigate against it. So yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for your information. I think everybody did get a lot out of it, and we'll produce this as a video, and it'll be part of our permanent training information available. So we're as I explained right from the very start, this is something Kinesis Money is a platform we're working towards using more and more and more. Because I need to get consensus from the membership really that we all believe this is the way we should go. And I think after your presentation today, that will be that'll be a done deal. I think that I certainly like what you've shown us. I know Gaia has, and I know Mervyn has. So yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So yeah, that's kind of it really. I can't say thank you enough for your time and effort. We'll be in touch if we have any other questions. We'll get them to you.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, if you could, I think this video is going to download onto your computer, so you
That is
need to get it over
true.
to me at
So
some point.
yeah, I think I'll put a note in my diary. I'll give you a quick follow-up call tomorrow if you like, Andrew. And
Cool.
I think I'm gonna have to do something to make it so I can share this video. So I'll touch base with you
If
around
you,
about
well, if you're on Telegram, then you can hit me up on Telegram, and you can just drop this into our Telegram chat. Telegram will handle a video of this size, no problem at all.
yeah, hopefully, like I say, I've just got that one request of editing that 10 seconds out where I accidentally slipped
I
into the
will.
wrong screen.
I will for
Otherwise,
sure.
it will be my last conversation I have with any of them. I am very much grateful for everyone's time. I'm aware that this will be circulated to a much more wider channel. So thank you for your time and your interest in listening to what we have to say. I do honestly think that what I've presented here is the tip of the iceberg in terms of some other partnerships and sort of new innovations and products becoming available.
Yes.
So I think read our newsletter coming out, I believe, at the end of this week. Make the use of your account manager. Andrew, perhaps we sort of continue our conversation and maybe we can get you moved from one account to another. But pleasure for your time. Thank you for your interest. And well, I'm on the other side of a phone if you need.
Excellent. Again, thank you. God bless.
Yes,
Thank
thanks
you.
very much. God bless and good luck.
God bless everyone. See you soon.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.